Last month, the U.S. Department of Justice announced it is investigating Kentucky's juvenile detention centers after multiple incidents highlighting issues with safety for both staff and kids being held in custody. This week, the new commissioner of Kentucky's Department of Juvenile Justice shared a presentation with lawmakers outlining the state of the agency, improvements and challenges for the department's facilities. A chief concern is overcrowding the 8 detention centers operating across the state. Today, they house just over 230 youth. Last year, lawmakers passed Senate Bill 162, requiring juveniles are detained at the closest detention center as practical to home, while also separating males and females and nonviolent from violent offenders. The commissioner says that may not be feasible.
This Senate Bill 162 mandate will be extraordinarily difficult to meet given the relatively small capacity of each detention center and the limitations of aging physical facilities not designed for these circumstances.
And that's only one snapshot of the ongoing discussion happening over DJJ right now. Senator Neal, I want you to start this discussion here. What concerns you most about the department?
Well, I think the commissioner has already outlined it. Do they have adequate capacity? Have they calculated this right? They're making changes. They're going to put pressure on the system in one place as opposed to another. Will that play out the way they're projecting? The allocation of funds, are we sufficiently applying enough resources to the circumstances? And I think only time is going to really tell in terms of the outcome of that. But I think one thing is for sure, there's going to be an increase in terms of juveniles in the system, and some of the policies that we're now adopting will ensure that that increase will take place.
Do you think House Bill 5 will contribute to that?
There's no question about that. But I think the real question here is whether or not we're going to respond to this situation and ultimately get into root causes. We can talk about all this Band-Aid stuff, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to address root causes, and if we don't put enough resources into that, I think we're missing the boat.
Now I got to give you a chance to respond.
Yeah, I think that's right. I want to say up front that this is something that Senator Neal has put a lot of really good work in, and Representative Couture Heron and some others, Kevin Bradsher from Louisville. It's a very difficult situation. I would note that, to my knowledge, at least the time that I've been there, there's not been any request by Governor Bevin or Governor Beshear that's not been met. And so all the dollars they've asked for, they've received. I want to give kudos to the Louisville mayor because he's gotten into it immediately and is trying to help with a new big facility in Louisville. And so some things are going forward. I would note that we are trying to address some things at the root cause. One of the things in House Bill 5 was a recognition, based on talking to police officers, that a lot of adults are using juveniles to commit their crimes for obvious reasons. They're treated differently. They're treated much more leniently. And so we're saying in House Bill 5, if an adult uses kids, then we ratchet up his punishment. So hopefully there will be less of an effort to use juveniles as criminals. But I would note that if you're talking to LMPD, if you're talking to the Lexington Police Department in Northern Kentucky, what they're saying is a lot of the crime spike is because of juveniles. So what juveniles know is that if they do something bad, there's not a real serious consequence. So when they commit a violent crime, which I'm a violent crime, then there needs to be a real consequence. And being incarcerated is part of the mix. It's not the only thing, but it is part of the mix.
There was a push for a mental health facility, and that was brought up some in the discussion that occurred this week at the state capitol, and there being some confusion over the amount of the request itself, apparently not also having a lot of detail. Is there any movement on something like that?
Yeah, there's obviously both in the adult and the juvenile facilities, there's a lot of mental health issues, and so we have to address that more effectively, no doubt about that. But right now we're in a crisis mode. We've had a number of riots, we've had some escapes. We had 2 employees in Adair County who were in ICU for over a week. We had a young lady get gang raped in the middle of the facility. And they were putting boys and girls, and we predicted it. We said, you can't do that. And the Beshear administration said, well, we don't think we can not do it legally. And we said, you're setting it up for a big problem. 2 weeks later, we had this situation. And so thankfully, we're now separating boys and girls and violent from nonviolent, which makes it difficult because what do you do if you're from a rural area and you've got a number of kids who are not violent and a kid who's violent? Well, you can't put them together. And so it's a very difficult task. I recognize that up front. I think we're all pulling from the same side of the rope now.
Well, I think the Beshear administration, for sure, that was a policy change that they were looking for from the very beginning, and they inherited this situation. We got to be careful about who did what under what. But the situation is, I think that they are addressing it in a very reasonable and practical way. The outcome is yet to be demonstrated.
All right, thank you so much, Senator. Still ahead, attracting teachers to Kentucky. Coming up, is money approved by lawmakers for school district raises enough to fill the state's classrooms?